Hi all, this is Jan of the Jan Files. I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. And also hit that little bell there because that'll notify you when I post another video. So I'm going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to try to shorten it a little. So one of the things I want to talk about are the camps that are all over the country. There are so many places and that the ICE is operating in. There's over 224 locations. It's going up and up and up and everything every day. So and there are different kinds of detention centers, just so you know. I'm just providing this information because I think it's a horror what we are doing. And I think it's really important that when we have these conversations, we have some facts at our fingertips, because they're going to say, oh, they don't have to do that. They don't have to. Yes, they do. So I'm just going to kind of read this one off a little bit because I think all of the horror stories, and people are dying. People are dying where they shouldn't be dying, and for no reason. It's maltreatment. They're not getting medical care. They're getting beaten up and, allegedly murdered in some of these camps. So I think it's really important that we not lose sight of this, because this is, who are we? I mean, it really goes to this question of who are we as human beings? We once had some rules and regulations and laws that showed that we were, operating from a humane perspective. That doesn't exist anymore. So I'm just going to run down some of these rights they supposed to have, and most don't. Okay. So they have a right to remain silent. They have a right to legal counsel, just like us. But in this case, there's no public defender. They have a right to a hearing. They have a right to a bond hearing. They have a right to communicate with facilities. Must allow detainees to contact family members, their attorney, and their home's country's embassy or consulate. You think that's happening? Medical care. Facilities are legally obligated to provide comprehensive physical and mental health care. They need basic necessities. Detainees must have access to clean drinking water, age-appropriate food, sanitation, which is toilets and showers, and hygiene products. They must have humane living conditions, bedding, blankets, climate-controlled environments. In other words, you're not in alligator alley and sweating in 110 degrees because there's no air conditioning. That is against the law. Parents have the right to make decisions and arrangements for the care and custody of their children. And legal proceedings. Detained parents have the right to appear for family court or child welfare proceedings. Now, we have all seen little kids, 2 years old, 3 years old, literally sitting in front of a judge and the judge asking them questions. I mean, this is the definition of fucking insanity, okay? To expect a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6-year-old, 7-year-old to be able to answer any of these questions that are posed to them with any level of intelligence. I mean, this is beyond horrendous. So what is happening in there, in terms of, I heard and read about people eating stale food, bologna every goddamn day, the same thing every day. That's not good for you. Okay. People dying because they don't get their medications. Kids traumatized. This is horror. This is horrendous. It shows the world, is telling the world who the fuck we are. And it's not saying anything good. There's an Irish man who came here legally and has a work permit and has everything he needs to have. And he's still in one of these detention camps for 4 months. He's legally here, folks. He's legally here. No crimes committed. So anyway, that was just a little brief. I'm going to talk about Epstein next, and also Jeremy Carl. And I'm sorry, it just feels overwhelming, right? It's like there's so much out there that we all should know about. We should all know this stuff. And I know it's really hard to know this stuff. And what I'm trying to do here is help you know some of the bigger things. And I'm sure you guys can. I'm not doing some magic work, but I know how hard it is, and I know how long it takes me to get good information. So that's my purpose here. So let's talk about Jeremy Carl, and then we'll go to Epstein. Jeremy Carl has been nominated for the Deputy Assistant Secretary Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Secretary of State, I believe. I might have gotten this damn title wrong. Oh, geez. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's a racist, white supremacist. I mean, there is like no doubt, because he has quotes that he has said. He has a track record. He actually also still says that stuff when he's being interviewed by the Senate. Like, this is Senator Shaheen. Mr. Carl, you have argued that feminism has led to a downfall in American society. You should have written that. You've written that the Civil Rights Act has warped our culture and that the United States should be a white Christian nation. You've written that a post-feminist America is one of the reasons for failing fertility and rapidly rising out of wedlock births. This is a quote again from him. Jews have loved to play the victim. The Holocaust dominates so much of modern Jewish history. Jews love to see themselves as oppressed. From Senator Murphy, he's quoting him again. Anti-white discrimination is the most pervasive and political salient form of racism today. I think that's enough. I don't have to read anymore. So you get it. So literally, the fact is that Trump is so emboldened that he can put a racist, an absolute racist fuck up for a nomination. I mean, they're not even pretending anymore, folks. And I've said this before in my other videos. What we are going through is an attempt to make this America white again. This is what it's all about. When they said they want to get rid of 100 million people, guess what that total comes from? Latino and Black people. Get rid of them, that's about 100 million. I mean, this is no joke. And this is something that every time somebody pulls a race card, I'm going to rub says that I pull the race card. I'm going to rub this in their face. Because this is gross. This is disgusting. I mean, the idea that white people are the most discriminated against is farcical. So that's Jeremy Carl. I'm sure that if your senator is a Democrat, you don't have to worry about them voting for this asshole. If you do have a Republican, you should call and make Republican senator. You should call and make sure that you're really clear on this one, folks. Really clear. And finally, the Epstein files. So we all know what Pam Bondi did last week. It was abomination, shit show, liar. And the fact is that they have sent a letter that they're not going to send any more files. So that is an absolute, ignoring the law. The Epstein Transparency Act. They're defying it. They're saying, fuck you, Come and get us. Come and get us. Who's going to get it from us, right? The courts? They already, we tried that, and the judge said, basically you had to file a lawsuit. So I don't know whether Massey and Kana are filing a lawsuit, but stay tuned. This particular, what they call, is a 302. Okay, it's an interview with a victim. That somebody came to the FBI and said, this is what's happened to me, and they take it. And so I want you to see, right? Okay, this is what I'm going to be quoting from, although as you can see, most of it is redacted, but not all of it. And this is a very, very lengthy, awful interview. A woman describes this happening to her when she was 13 years of age. 13. Raped and raped and raped, not just by men, but by men using different instruments to rape her. But what she also does, and this is from 7/24/2019. And I want to read you the part where she refers to Donald Trump. Here we go. And so bear with me, because I'm going to read this to you, because I think it's really important that you hear this versus my trying to, search for my words. So she says, this is 6/7, sorry. Again, this is a 13-year-old who, I'm sorry, folks, I just need to get, here it is. It says, blank later viewed the image sent her with her friend and neighbor. Blank told, that is a person who has caused me great harm and affected my life. He's a nightmare. Blank advised the photograph sent her was still saved in her cell phone messages. Upon request by the agents, she accessed the image, and before she showed the picture to the interviewing agent, she asked whether she could crop the photograph to only include the man she was referring to, essentially cropping out one or more individuals also included in the picture. Her attorney offhandedly mentioned the word president while looking at the image on the cell phone. The agents asked whether she would be comfortable explaining why she wanted to crop the photograph. When she hesitated, the attorney advised she was concerned about implicating additional individuals, and specifically any that were well known, due to fear of retaliation. The agents advised that she could crop the image to show only what she felt comfortable with if she felt it was necessary. Of note, the particular image sent to her by, again, redacted, was recognized by agents as the widely distributed photograph of Jeffrey Epstein and the current United States President Donald Trump. He's in there, folks. He's in there. There is no doubt. There is no doubt that he was in there, that he participated. This is my opinion. And that I have no doubt. And the fact is, they're not releasing, they're not even close to releasing all the files. Because as I said the other day, Channel 4 has reported that the 6 million is only 2% of what's possibly there. So we're going to have to keep fighting. Now, the interesting thing is the French have, in their language, how they refer to a special prosecutor, have created a special prosecutor on the Epstein files. and they're reopening Jean-Luc Brunel's file, because he also, who was charged when he was charged by France, he killed himself in jail. Maybe, I don't know the circumstances there, but geez, another person decides to kill themselves in jail. So this man, Jean-Luc Brunel, was another monster. And he was the one who they talked about in the 60 Minutes episode, I believe and now I'm not sure whether it was 88 or 80, so around there. But anyway, you can go to 60 Minutes. It's American Girls in Paris. So, folks, there's so much going on. But the Epstein files, as far as I'm concerned, is the tool that will take down Donald Trump and many, many other men and women. Nobody's even looked at the Zorro Ranch, although I'm sure that anything that was in there since 2019 is long gone. Okay? But not necessarily what's in the ground. So I hope that you will continue to follow me. I hope that I've given you some good information. But I'm so fucking done with the way women are getting treated, and the fact that we're still also talking about the SAVE Act, which is going to make it more difficult for women to vote. Not men, just women. So, anyhow, take care, stay safe, protest, and call. Take care.